I'm Emily Miller-Cushion. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Animal Sciences. I've spent my career looking at behavioral development in calves, and we've looked at different aspects of social development and how it relates to housing and feeding behavior and how it relates to feeding management. So in my lab, we focus on dairy calves, and we're interested in how we can manage calves to improve welfare, and also how we can use an understanding of their behavior to provide insight into their welfare. We're interested in what those long-term effects for the calf all the way into her lactation will be. This particular project was the work of a former master's student in my lab, Samantha Doyle. She was really interested in how the human factor might influence animal welfare. Weaning is a stressful period for calves because it's a time period where we're stepping down how much milk they get to encourage them to start eating more solid feed like grain and hay. We had 14 individually housed calves and 14 pair-housed calves, and we followed them through the duration of the pre-weaning period. So for calves, this is the first 8 weeks of life. And then during weaning, which is at the end of that period, we had different days when humans would enter the pen and spend just 5 minutes with the calf following milk feeding, scratching the calf and just standing, providing something for the calf to interact with in the pen. Calves are really motivated to suck. It's how they naturally consume their milk, and we feed them through a rubber teat to allow for that suckling motivation. But we also see that calves will suck on things after their milk is gone. We call this non-nutritive sucking, and this is actually a normal behavior. Human babies will do this too. We give them a pacifier, and it actually calms them down. But with calves, we can see this behavior directed towards other calves, and in socially housed calves, we call this cross-sucking, and also to pen fixtures, where they'll suck on objects in the pen. We found that human contact particularly reduced this abnormal oral behavior for individually housed calves, and it also somewhat reduced the cross-sucking behavior in pair-housed calves. We also found that regardless of social housing treatment, the human presence increased lying time following milk feeding, suggesting that it was maybe having a calming effect. We were surprised that human contact was that influential, considering the human was only in the pen for a few minutes. But it could be some effect of the scratching and tactile stimulation, or it could just be the novelty and interest that the calf had in the human in the pen that redirected them from some of these abnormal behaviors. And this really suggests, I think, the importance of providing behavioral opportunities or any kind of stimulation in the environment that increases the complexity for the calves.